Hello, everyone. My name is Anand Chigran. I'm going to walk you through how easy it is to build federation in StepZen. The core concept in StepZen, whether you're building a local graph or a graph of graphs, is that you're actually assembling subgraphs together. For example, you may have a subgraph that assembles data from a database backend using an add_db query directive, or a subgraph that brings data from kind of a REST backend using @REST directive. Or you could have a subgraph that actually represents the kind of a remote graph, and that connects to the remote graph using @GraphQL. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually bring multiple subgraphs together using @GraphQL, and then we'll actually stitch them together where data from one connects with the data of the other using an @materializer directive. So I have built out two subgraphs. One is a customer subgraph that runs on anand.stepzen.net on endpoint, and that contains customer information. In this case, we have built it using StepZen, but you can build it against your own favorite tool because we'll only be doing federation against it. So this subgraph takes some customer email information and returns data about the customer. And similarly, I've built out an order subgraph, again running on StepZen, but it could be built in any of your favorite things, and it takes a customer ID and returns orders. So now let's bring both of these subgraphs into a federation workspace and then connect the dots. So let's kind of hop over to my VS Code. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do StepZen import GraphQL, okay? And the very first one that I'll import is my customer data. Okay. And there you can enter various information, but for the purpose of this one, I don't. And now what I've done is I have actually gotten that entire GraphQL endpoint, that kind of customer endpoint, actually uploaded into StepZen. And as you can see, it actually uses an @GraphQL in order to connect to the backend. Now let's do the same thing with the order data. So let me just do the same thing, but this time let me kind of bring in the order subgraph. And okay, and no. And now let me just kind of deploy this. So okay, now let me just deploy this. So let me do a StepZen start. This will deploy this particular endpoint onto StepZen. So now I've got kind of two subgraphs available to me, and now they're available on Anand Basic Federation GraphQL. So for example, I can go there onto that endpoint, and I've got this. I'll be able to see that I can issue both the queries. So I can issue this query, and I can issue also the query of customer by email, query email equal John Doe @example.com, and I can, for example, get that customer's name and the city that they are in. Okay, so I can issue these two queries. And now, therefore, what has happened is that now in my federation space, I now have these two subgraphs, each representing the respective backends, and the query gets routed at the right place to the right backend, and the data gets assembled. Very easy. And now let's connect the dots. So now let's get the orders associated with the customer. In StepZen, it's very, very easy to kind of connect the dots. So let me just kind of create a new file in this case, and I'll show you why I'm creating a new file, though you can, of course, add it in your own basic file. And let me create a file which is called customer order.graphql. Okay. And let me add this code in it. What this code is saying is that you want to extend the type customer with a new field called orders. And look at the power of this stitching. It's a completely federated worldview. What you're saying is that the orders in customer will be achieved by passing some data from customers into the query on the order side and taking the data and bringing them together. All the stuff that's deployed on StepZen goes through the manifest file. So let's add this to the manifest file. Okay, and let's save everything. So I've created a new connecting file, and then I've created a new manifest file, and now this gets deployed. And so I can issue the same query as before, but look what else I can do. Now actually I can get orders, okay, associated with a customer. Okay, so I can get all the customer, the orders, and I can get the carrier and create it on. Okay, and let me execute this query, and that's it, right? So I got two subgraphs in, and then I stitch the two subgraphs together by connecting the data in one with the query in the other, and that's how you do actually federation in StepZen. You import two subgraphs, and then you stitch the two subgraphs together. It's as easy as that. Literally, if you look at the code that I generated, I did one import, I did a second import, and then I did this linkage file, and that was it. So if you like what you saw, please go ahead and sign up on StepZen and let us know whether we can help you with your federation project. Thank you very much.